Imagine studying in a place where opportunities meet diversity. Say hello to Canada, home to some of the world's top universities. Canada ranks among the best in education. In fact, according to QS World University Rankings, 26 Canadian universities are listed among the best in the world. With a multicultural society that welcomes students from all corners of the globe, you'll find a second home here. And it's not just about the studies. With a robust job market, Canada offers numerous work opportunities while you study and post-graduation. We understand that studying abroad is a big decision, filled with excitement, curiosity, and a bit of nervousness. That's why AECC is here to guide you through every step of your journey. From choosing the right program and university, to visa processing and pre-departure guidance, we're here to help for free. So, are you ready to embark on your Canadian educational journey? Get in touch with AECC today by filling out the contact form on our website. Imagine studying in a place where opportunities meet diversity. Say hello to Canada, home to some of the world's top universities. Canada ranks among the best in education. In fact, according to QS World University Rankings, 26 Canadian universities are listed among the best in the world. With a multicultural society that welcomes students from all corners of the globe, you'll find a second home here. And it's not just about the studies. With a robust job market, Canada offers numerous work opportunities while you study and post-graduation. We understand that studying abroad is a big decision, filled with excitement, curiosity, and a bit of nervousness. That's why AECC is here to guide you through every step of your journey. From choosing the right program and university, to visa processing and pre-departure guidance, we're here to help for free. So, are you ready to embark on your Canadian educational journey? Get in touch with AECC today by filling out the contact form on our website. Imagine studying in a place where opportunities meet diversity. Say hello to Canada, home to some of the world's top universities. Canada ranks among the best in education. In fact, according to QS World University Rankings, 26 Canadian universities are listed among the best in the world. With a multicultural society that welcomes students from all corners of the globe, you'll find a second home here. And it's not just about the studies. With a robust job market, Canada offers numerous work opportunities while you study and post-graduation. We understand that studying abroad is a big decision, filled with excitement, curiosity, and a bit of nervousness. That's why AECC is here to guide you through every step of your journey. From choosing the right program and university, to visa processing and pre-departure guidance, we're here to help for free. So, are you ready to embark on your Canadian educational journey? Get in touch with AECC today by filling out the contact form on our website.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to AECC webinar. I'm Doni from AECC Indonesia. I'm the moderator of today's webinar. And I'm glad to have all of you here virtually and welcome again to this webinar. So we have Brett here, the international recruitment team from Cape Breton University, to answer all of your questions regarding admissions, scholarships, and all the needed information to study, work, and live, especially in Nova Scotia, Canada. Without further ado, please welcome Brett McLean. Over to you, Brett.
Thank you very much, Donnie, and thank you for everyone that's joined for the seminar today. I do have a short PowerPoint presentation, probably 30 minutes max, because I know that no one really does want to watch a PowerPoint for more than that long. And perhaps what we can do, Donnie, after that is answer any questions students have, thoughts about the programs, or anything your team would like to ask as well. I do have a PowerPoint here. I'm just wondering, do I have access to share that?
Yeah, you have the access.
I do.
Feel free to share the PPT.
Just 1 second here. Let me. Unknown. Okay. There we go. Can you see that PowerPoint?
Not yet.
No, okay, strange. Documents. Advanced. Not sure why this is not showing up. Share. Open setting security brand. Okay, second here. Oh, I see what it is.
All good? Or do you want me to share the PPT?
I think I might need you to share. For some reason, this is not.
Sure. We share. Yep.
Yeah, okay. And could you maximize that as well?
Yeah, this one.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So unfortunately, I don't have access to that to move the slides. Could you just go to the next
Oh,
slide?
yeah. Sure.
Perfect. So I guess the best place for us to begin is kind of to talk about where we're at and why we're called Cape Breton University. So Cape Breton is an island which is a part of the province of Nova Scotia, and I'll show you a map of Canada in a moment. But I do want you to understand that we're not out in the middle of the North Atlantic. We're actually connected to the mainland of Canada through a bridge. And we are ranked the #1 island in North America by Travel and Leisure magazine. And I'll kind of explain in a moment why that's important. But I do want you to know that when you do come to Cape Breton or when you come to Nova Scotia in Canada, it's a very safe place to stay. It's very clean, it's very easy to get around, and certainly a place that gets a lot of tourists coming from the United States and Europe. Next, please, Donnie. In terms of where we're at in Canada, if you look at a map of Canada, we're on the far east coast. You'll see there a place called Nova Scotia, right on the east coast on the Atlantic Ocean. And Nova Scotia is a smaller place to live. It's only about 1 million people in the province. And there really are two main cities, the capital, Halifax, as well as the second city where we're located, Sydney, Nova Scotia. Canada is a very large country. Depending on where you study in Canada, it's going to be probably very different. I think Indonesians certainly know what it's like to live in a large country. Obviously, the different regions of Indonesia are very different, whether you're in Banda Aceh, whether you're in Jakarta, maybe Bali or Surabaya. And it's the same for Canada. And again, we can talk about and answer any questions about the different regions. But if you can go to the next slide, please, Donnie. Now, in terms of Cape Breton itself, this is very much a place where the people that live here are coming usually from British, French, or Irish ancestry. We do have approximately 120,000 people living in Cape Breton. And, you know, looking at the size of Indonesia, when students hear there are 120,000 people, this might sound like a village. But certainly for Canada, most cities outside of Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal are made up of small to medium-sized cities like Sydney. There's an airport that you can fly directly into from Toronto, from Montreal. There's flights from Nova Scotia directly to Europe, the United States. So certainly, if you're thinking that 120,000 people is small, we have lots of bars, restaurants, cafes, lots of malls, and an airport that you can fly into. It's just not, you know, a city of 2 or 3 million people like Toronto. And I think for some students, that's a good thing. Particularly if you are looking for a smaller place, it's easier to get around. Certainly cost of living is much less in Nova Scotia compared to Toronto. And there are some benefits, I think, post-graduation in terms of permanent residence options that are very beneficial. One thing that I know a lot of our Indonesian students want to know is about the weather. Canada, of course, is a cold country for some time of the year. But thankfully in Nova Scotia, we're actually the warmest province in Canada. Because we're right on the Atlantic Ocean, the water actually keeps us fairly warm in the winter and gives us a very hot and humid summer. considering that, it still does get cold for 3, 4 months of the year. We do get a lot of snow, but this is really great because it provides for snow at our ski resorts, but also hot summers for our beach resorts and golf resorts. One thing you'll probably hear in the news globally, whether it's in Europe, Australia, Canada, the United States, is that the cost of living is going up because of inflation. And we know that a lot of students, or more importantly, a lot of parents, I think are asking about what's the cost of living for 1 year. Certainly compared to Toronto, compared to Australia, compared to Vancouver, the cost of living in Nova Scotia is less. We generally tell students for 1 month, for your books, for your fees, for your apartment, your internet, all of those things for 1 month, your food, you're looking at about 1,600 Canadian dollars a month. And I think if you are a student coming directly from high school, a great way to maintain those costs a little bit lower is to stay on campus. I'll talk about the on-campus options in a moment, but certainly that is a great way, I think, to save costs. The other good thing, of course, as you'll know, is that when you're a student in Canada, you are allowed to work part-time, 30 hours a week while in class, full-time outside of class. And the average minimum wage in Nova Scotia, I think, goes a lot farther than other parts of Canada. The minimum wage is $15 an hour, but certainly students that are working in the service industry will make more with their tips. So all those things considered, I think Cape Breton University has a lot of good options in its location, but let's talk about some of the program options now. If you can go to the next slide, please, Donnie. Sorry, one more. So about Cape Breton University. So Cape Breton University is a publicly funded government university. And you need to understand that that's very important. Most Canadians go to government universities. We don't really go to private schools because that is the highest level of accreditation you can get in Canada, a publicly funded government university. We are a smaller university. Last year, we were only about 9,000 students, but we do have more than 80 different nationalities studying with us on campus. What's great about Cape Breton University, I think, is that we do have 3 intakes per year, January, May, and September, so that if you apply for Cape Breton University, but maybe you don't get your study permit in time, maybe you decide you want to wait another intake, there's always another active intake that you can join us. And I think when you look at the infrastructure at Cape Breton University, we have an on-campus hospital, we have a large gym, we have a lot of support for our students when you come to the university itself. If you can go to the next one, please, Donnie. Now, more importantly, what programs do we offer? So as a government university, we have a wide variety of options that you can study. If you're someone that's coming directly from high school in Indonesia, we have undergrad programs with a 2-year option. We have bachelor degrees at 3- and 4-year options. If you're someone that's already graduated with a science degree, an engineering degree, we have some great post-degree or advanced standing options in engineering technology. Or if you're someone that has graduated just with a bachelor degree, we have a lot of post-baccalaureate options in some programs I'll talk about in a moment. For those of you looking to do a master's program, at the moment, we only have 1 master's available on campus, and that's a Master's of Business Administration and Community Economic Development that, again, I'll talk about in a bit more. But we're also extremely proud to announce that we are going to be the next medical school in Canada. Starting in September 2025, we are going to have a medical campus for only Canadian students to start. But this is a $120 million investment from the Canadian government. And we're also going to use a lot of that money to update our engineering labs, our engineering technology. We're going to be offering a lot more health science options, nursing options for students. So there's a lot of funding and infrastructure that's being built at Cape Breton University that's going to benefit all of our international and domestic students. But if you can go to the next option, Donnie, I'll kind of go through some of these programs. Generally speaking, at Cape Breton University, all of our programs are broken up into 4 different schools. Those of you interested in studying business programs, we have the Shannon School of Business. Those of you interested in health science programs, we have a School of Health and Education. For those of you interested in studying engineering, engineering technology, or the sciences, we have a School of Science. And of course, for those of you interested in studying the arts and social sciences, we have the School of Arts and Social Sciences. If you go to the next one, I'll look at some of those individual programs. Before we go and talk about the bachelor programs, Donnie, I want to kind of go through these 5 unique post-baccalaureate programs, because I know that there's a lot of students from Indonesia that are interested in these. And these programs here, these are designed for students that already have a bachelor's degree. Not a 2-year diploma after high school, but a bachelor's degree, whether it's a Bachelor of Science, a Bachelor of Engineering, a Bachelor of Business, a Bachelor of Nursing, any science-related degree. We have 5 post-baccalaureate programs in business analytics, business management, supply chain management, healthcare management, and occupational health and safety. And what's great about these programs is that they're all 2 years in length, meaning that when you graduate, you can apply for a 3-year post-grad work permit. But they're also very much designed to be focused on the labor market demand. So for example, when you graduate from one of these programs, we want you to find employment. The way programs are designed is that the first 3 semesters are in class, but your final semester, the final semester is designed to either be an internship with a company or a capstone research project. Those of you that will be eligible for the work term or the internship, you will have to have at least a 70% average in year 1, but it is a great option if you are looking to stay in Canada and work in the field of study. I think the other great thing about these programs is the tuition price. The total tuition for these 2-year programs is approximately 35,000 Canadian dollars for the entire program. It's $20,000 year 1 and only $15,000 for year 2. And I think if you consider that with the postgrad programs at colleges, which are ranked lower than a university, that works out to be about 17,500 Canadian dollars per year. As a university, I think this is a great price, and in particular, the programs themselves. If you look at the business analytics program, this is a program where most students that apply for this are students that are coming from an engineering background, a finance background, or usually a computer science background. The business analytics post-bac program has a lot of maths, a lot of statistics, and is really dealing with big data sets. But we know that a lot of our students are having zero problems post-graduation with employment. A lot of our students are going to work for Loblaws, they're going to work for Microsoft, they're going to work with companies that are really looking for someone that can follow up with business intelligence or product analysis. There is an additional requirement for this program where students must have at least a 75% average in 2 subjects in maths, statistics, finance, like this in your bachelor's degree. We also have programs in business management. Usually these are students that are looking to get a skill set, usually in project management, in accounting or finance. Most students that take this program never have come from a business background. They studied usually engineering or the arts and social sciences and are trying to get a background in business. Supply chain management is a very popular program given our location on the Atlantic Ocean. We have a huge port in Nova Scotia. So if you are interested in supply chain management, logistics, this is a great program. And we also have a strong program in healthcare management and occupational health and safety. Most students that join this program are coming from the healthcare background, whether it's biology, chemistry, nursing, physiotherapy, and the health sciences and kind of healthcare services in Atlantic Canada and Nova Scotia. It's one of the largest industries. So if you're having at least a 70% Canadian overall in your bachelor's degree, that's about a lower class second. These are great options, I think, if you're looking for a 2-year program. I guess from this, Donnie, before we jump ahead, are there any questions about the post-baccalaureate programs, or do students have any questions if they already have a bachelor's degree about their options for a 2-year program?
Yeah, so there's a question from Jessie. So she still not don't get it. What is the difference between the master and postbaccalaureate diploma? And then she need a more explanation about that.
Sure. So a post-baccalaureate diploma, and that's a great question. A post-baccalaureate diploma is not research-based. It's an applied program. So it's accredited higher than a bachelor's degree, but less than a master's. Students must have a bachelor's degree to apply for these programs. So it's not students coming directly from high school. And the reason I would say you might want to go into a post-baccalaureate diploma rather than a master's program is threefold. Number one, the cost is very different. The post-baccalaureate diploma costs less than a master's program. The second reason is that it's not a research-based program. This is a program designed for students that are looking to go into the job market after they graduate with more of an applied skill set. Our MBA program has a final research thesis that is required, whereas the post-baccalaureate diploma does not. It has an internship option or a capstone project instead. And I guess the third reason is students that want to do the master's program require an MBA, or sorry, a GMAT score. The GMAT score is required for the master's program, whereas the post-baccalaureate program does not require a GMAT. So it's really about price, admission requirements, and kind of what you're planning to do post-graduation. I would say if your goal is to come and study in Canada for 2 years and get a skill set for an applied program, this is the post-baccalaureate program option. If you're someone that's looking to do a research-based program, I think the Masters of Business Administration is a better fit. Does that answer the question? Or if there's a follow-up question, please let me know. I'm happy to clarify.
Yeah, I think it's so good. But how about the study level? Is it the same with the master's degree or lower than that?
No, so the master's program, while the faculty in these programs are accredited to teach at the master's level, it is ranked less than a master's program. It's higher than a bachelor's, but it's lower than a master's degree.
Okay, so any possibilities for them to, continue let's say they are planning to take the master's degree after that. Is it like transferable to the master's degree in the future?
So at the moment, we are in the process of building 3 new master's programs, but at the moment, these programs would not be transferable to the Masters of Business Administration. The MBA it's a very different field. It's in community economic development rather than business analytics or occupational health and safety, supply chain, things like that. If students, and I can talk about the MBA in a moment, but if students want to do the Masters of Business Administration, we do have a GMAT requirement. To be honest, the only way the GMAT can be waived so that students don't have to do the GMAT, it's usually if they have a bachelor's degree from Australia, they have a bachelor's degree from the UK or the United States. We can usually schedule an interview with the program director, but that would be the big difference. It's that GMAT requirement.
Thanks. There is no more questions.
I will add this. At the moment, we have several Indonesian students in our business analytics program, the post-baccalaureate in business analytics, particularly because this is a program, I think, that has an incredibly high employment rate after they graduate. It's a tough program, but if your students have good grades in math, statistics, finance, if they're doing something in an engineering background, I think this is a great program. And if any students do want to talk to our Indonesian students that are in these programs, just let me know. Always happy to connect them.
Yeah, so there's a follow-up question from Jessie. So she asked about what is more suitable for her as a bachelor graduate and already has more than 10 years of work experience in supply chain. So should she take the post-baccalaureate diploma or master degree?
So if the object is, or sorry, if the objective is to work in supply chain management and logistics, I would strongly recommend the post-baccalaureate diploma in supply chain. What's very interesting about Indonesia, of course, is your geography. You're a large archipelago, just many islands. Indonesia, the Philippines, obviously the Strait of Malacca in Singapore. There's a huge industry of getting fast-moving consumer goods, I think, in your region of the world. Similar to that, Nova Scotia is right on the Atlantic Ocean. If we're importing cars from Germany, they enter usually through Nova Scotia. If we're getting, bananas from Brazil, we're one of the first ports of entry into the North American market. We actually have a bachelor's degree in supply chain management because it's such a large of industry. If you're coming with 10 years work experience in supply chain management and logistics, and you want to get a good understanding of this industry in North America, and if this is something certainly you want to work in after you graduate, I would strongly recommend the post-bac and supply chain management. It is a 2-year program. Keep your grades up in year 1, and we can try and help you get an internship with one of the port authorities, with one of the large logistic companies in Canada, like Loblaws or Irving. Canada is a large country. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry getting goods across the country. So someone with 10 years experience like that, I think this could be a great fit.
Can I ask any more?
Oh, yes,
Sorry.
please, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the post-baccalaureate diploma for supply chain, is there any scholarship?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about this a bit more at the end, but let me kind of talk about a little part of it now. So we have a very specific Indonesian scholarship. We have scholarships for $5,000, $7,000, and $10,000 specifically for Indonesian students. However, there's a big however. It's mainly for students coming directly from high school, these larger scholarships, and it's always based on grades. For students in the post-baccalaureate programs, we do have something called bursaries, and they range usually between $2,000 and $5,000. And these bursaries, Jesse, they're available for students after they complete at least their first semester. We do want to see how the grades are in semester 1. And if the semester 1 grades are good, or if there's financial need, we definitely do have bursaries available for students. The scholarships are more for high school students coming directly from high school. And for post-baccalaureate students, it's after you've completed the first semester. We'll look at your grades and see what options are available. The good news is, I think last year we gave away over $10 million in bursaries to our students. So if you can keep the grades up, usually over a 70, 75%, there's definitely some scholarship or bursary options available. Anyone else? Any other
Hope that
questions?
answer, Jesse.
Yes, I wanna. So for the scholarship, what the source, the scholarship is from the government or from the campus, and what does it cover? This for the scholarship is like tuition or like living costs or anything.
Yeah, so the scholarship would come from the university, or the bursary would come directly from the university. And the way it works is that it's simply placed on the student's financial account. So say, for example, Jesse, you came to Cape Breton University and you got a bursary for, say, 5,000 Canadian dollars. That would go directly onto your student financial account, and you could use that towards your tuition. You could use that towards your meal plan if you're living on campus. You could use that towards your on-campus housing costs if you're living on campus. The only thing you can't do is you can't take it out as a check and spend it. The vast majority of students use that bursary simply just to go towards their tuition. It's the easiest way. but it does come directly from the university. And when that's awarded, it's just given as a credit onto your student account. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Is that
That's answered, Jesse.
Okay. Can I get
Yeah.
detailed scholarship information from the campus website?
Yeah, so if you go to so at the top of the Cape Breton University website, cbu.ca, you're going to see something called Service Hub. This is a great little tool to search everything and anything on the CBU website. If you just go there and type in scholarships and bursaries, you'll find an entire page looking at our scholarships and bursaries. You can also just type in Cape Breton University scholarships and bursaries in Google, and you'll find an entire section on the website.
Okay. I think I must to go website campus first, yeah, for the details, the scholarship. Thank you for your answer.
No, pleasure. We can chat more if you like in the next little bit. So
Okay.
those are kind of the post-baccalaureate diplomas. Do we have many students on here that are directly from high school that are looking for bachelor programs?
I think most of them are postgraduate, because I saw in the Q&A tab, most of them are bachelor degree, and then looking for the
Gotcha. And
next
this
level.
is something I want to
Yeah.
this is something I want to chat to you about. Maybe we can chat offline about this. One thing we've noticed from the
Sure,
data
sure.
about Indonesia is that the vast majority of students coming from Jakarta, they're coming for post-grad programs or post-baccalaureate programs. We've noticed a lot of the students applying from Surabaya are applying for undergrad programs. So if the majority of students on this call today are for post-baccalaureate programs, we can focus on, these options here. I can quickly go through, the undergrad options if there are, maybe even just for your team, but I won't spend as much time on that. So maybe if you can go to the next slide, please. So, before I do, the master's program that we currently have a master's of business administration and community economic development. This is a 2-year program that costs approximately 45,000 Canadian dollars. There are concentrations students can do in international business, marketing, conflict and peace building, strategic leadership, marketing. But the main focus is community economic development. And it's very different than the post-bac program because the post-bac program requires only 11 subjects and then an internship or a capstone project, whereas the MBA requires 15 subjects and then a final dissertation that takes about 6 months. It's very research-based, and we do require a GMAT score, 3 letters of reference, a statement of purpose, and a copy of the CV. Work experience isn't required, but it's a very different demographic of students. Many of the people we get in this program are usually coming with at least 5 years work experience. So they're not direct from university. They have some work experience, but they're also usually students coming from the public service in Canada. They're usually people looking to work in the not-for-profit sector, corporate social responsibility, government, and it's mainly Canadian students in this program. We do have a bilingual MBA with China. So there are a lot of Chinese students as well, but it is a very, very specific MBA. If there's any questions on the MBA, happy to answer that. But if not, I can talk about the bachelor's programs on the next slide. So the Shannon School of Business, this is our business school. And we have a lot of programs in the business school. We have mainly the BBA or the Bachelor of Business is a 4-year qualification. And you can do a major in accounting, a major in marketing, or a major in supply chain management. This is a 4-year program. There's also concentrations that you can do in economics, finance, HR management, and legal studies. But this is a 4-year program with co-op available, and this is for students directly from high school. The other program that's available directly for students from high school is the Bachelor of Hospitality and Tourism Management. This is actually a 3-year degree rather than 4, but students must complete 2 paid work terms. We currently do have some students from Indonesia in this program, and what's great about this is the students actually make money in the hospitality program. This is a huge industry in Atlantic Canada because we are ranked the #1 island in North America. A lot of our students are working at golf resorts, ski resorts. We have a huge cruise line industry whereby students go and work. And because this is required, the 2 work terms, we actually help the students find the work placement. So if you do have students coming from high school that are interested in this, or if you have students that have maybe done in Indonesia a 2-year diploma in hospitality, this is a great option. I think when most Canadians think of Indonesia, they think of holiday, they think of tourism, they think of Bali, they think of, Java and the beaches that you guys have. So certainly this could be a great fit as well for those younger students. If you go to the next one. Here we have the Bachelor of Arts program. This is a great program as well. If students are looking to do 3- or 4-year degrees in political science, international relations, psychology, philosophy. We also have a great program in the Bachelor of Arts in Community Studies. If students eventually want to go into social work, if students want to study sports, leadership and management, we have a strong sports leadership program. We also have a strong program in the Bachelor of Arts in Environment. This is for students looking to get both a skill set in writing, communication, but also a skill set in working in the laboratory and working in labs with other Bachelor of Science students. Some students know they don't want to do a full 3- or 4-year degree. So we also have a 2-year diploma in government management for students coming directly from high school. This 2-year diploma in government management is more for students that see themselves working maybe in the government, working in public administration, and I think is a good option for those that are looking to do a little bit less than a 4-year option. So that would be that program, Arts and Social Sciences. Next. For those students coming directly from high school, we have a lot of options in engineering. We have a very, very, very large engineering department for students that are looking to do an applied engineering program, not the traditional Bachelor of Engineering, but the Bachelor of Engineering Technology. We have 2-year, 3-year, and 4-year applied engineering tech programs in petroleum, environmental, chemical, and electronics and controls engineering technology. For those students that are looking for the professional engineering qualification, the Bachelor of Engineering, this is a globally accredited qualification. We're a member of the Washington Accord. So if you do our Bachelor of Engineering in chemical, civil, environmental, or mechanical engineering, you can go on to become a professional engineer. This is a very popular program that students do with us because of the cost. This program starts at 23,000 Canadian dollars, which I think for a Bachelor of Engineering program is an incredibly competitive price compared to what you look at Australia, the UK, or even other universities across Canada. The way this program works is that you must do the first 2 years with us and then automatically transfer to Dalhousie University in Halifax, because that's where you can complete the co-op. Do you guys get many applications, Donnie, for engineering students coming directly from high school?
Yeah, quite many, usually from National High School.
Wonderful. This program does students must have studied, maths plus 2 sciences in high school, physics, chemistry, biology, plus their maths. But again, if they're not looking to spend, $45,000 a year in year 1 and 2, this is a great program. Like I said, it's a fully accredited. It's certainly something that we're seeing a lot more demand in. Or of course, if you have students that are looking to go into the job market in less than 4 years, maybe the engineering technology as a 2- or 3-year option is better for them. Particularly the petroleum engineering technology has been very popular. We have a huge oil and gas industry, and this is something that a lot of students are interested in. Considering that, if you also have students that are looking to study, the Bachelor of Science, the pure sciences, we have a great program in biology, chemistry. We even have a psychology stream in our Bachelor of Science that students can do as 3 and 4 years. Similar to engineering, they must have, maths and 2 sciences in their high school final year. And we also have a unique program in public health. It's a Bachelor of Health Sciences and Public Health. In the past, it was kind of hard to explain the difference between the health sciences and the Bachelor of Science. I think since the pandemic, it's been easier because the focus of the health sciences is really around epidemiology. It's about preventing the spread of disease. So it looks at washing your hands. It looks at preventing disease through masking up, through food prevention. And this has been a very, very popular program since the pandemic for students coming directly from high school as a 4-year degree. Or if you have students in Indonesia, Donnie, that already have a Bachelor of Science degree, maybe in chemistry, biology, nursing, and they're looking for a 2-year qualification, students can actually get this as an advanced standing post degree in 2 years rather than 4. So again, that could be a great option either for students directly from high school or students that already have a science-related bachelor degree. If you go to the next slide, I think that should be it for programs. Yes, it is. So if students have any questions about those undergrad programs, let me know. We do know that a lot of students within Indonesia do require a language exam. If students have studied in the medium of English, if they've studied their high school in English or their university in English, we do not require an IELTS or language score. But if students have studied, in Bahasa or a language that isn't English, we need at least a 6.5 overall in IELTS, no band less than 6. We do accept TOEFL. We do accept Pearson or PTE at a score of 59, or of course, a Duolingo option. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any questions surrounding the language requirements, but that's what we require if students have not studied in English. If there's no questions, we can move on to the next slide.
Yeah, I think we can move on and then answer all the questions
Sure.
at the end.
Okay. For our undergrad programs, we need the equivalent of a 65% Canadian, which is not a crazy average, but it's not crazy low either. It's about a B average overall in your high school. We don't accept, please note, for the post-baccalaureate programs, the HNDs or the higher national diplomas. It has to be a bachelor's degree of at least 3 or 4 years at a lower class second or about a 70% Canadian. The one difference is the data analytics. We require at least a lower class second overall and at least a 75% average in 2 maths, statistics, or finance subjects. Go to the next slide. I think it's the next slide should be the application process. Oh, no, it's the tuition. So I think this is very much where Cape Breton University is very unique. We are a publicly funded government university, but I think our tuition is very competitive. Like I said, if you want to come and study a post-grad program and not pay, crazy prices, our 2-year program is approximately 32 to 35,000 Canadian dollars per year. The bachelor's programs for year 1 are approximately 23,000 Canadian dollars, and the master's is approximately 46,000 Canadian. So again, I think they're very competitive with the college prices, and certainly compared to other business schools, engineering schools, we have a very competitive tuition. One thing I would stress though, Donnie, is that please don't associate low tuition with low quality. Like I said, we are a government university. The reason why we are charging less is because our government in Nova Scotia wants to attract more students to Nova Scotia rather than Ontario, Alberta, or British Columbia. That's all. Go to the next slide. If students are looking to live on campus, we do have wonderful on-campus accommodation. Depending on what kind of place you want to live, The average rent is approximately 700 Canadian dollars per month. Here they're listed by terms. Each term is approximately 4 semesters. So these prices are for actually 4 months. If you want to live in a private room, that's going to be a bit more expensive than, say, a shared room. But generally, the shared apartment where students have their own private room to sleep and study, but have a shared bathroom, living room, and kitchen, that's about 700 Canadian dollars per month. It is important to note that also includes your heat, lights, electricity, and your internet. That's all included. One thing students, I think, sometimes underestimate when they come to Canada, how much the internet is. Having that included in your accommodation is wonderful. Students that arrive in September might not be aware of this, but heating in the winter can get expensive. So having heating included in your accommodation is also wonderful. For those students that don't want to live on campus, maybe they're a bit older, they're coming for a post-grad program, we do have an off-campus housing coordinator that can help them find off-campus housing. But generally, we tell students to think about one-bedroom apartments at about $900 to $1,400 a month. If they want to share a 2-bedroom, there's options, as well as renting rooms, which is usually the cheapest, is about $450 to $650. But again, the off-campus housing, it all depends on the landlord, and ultimately the students need to sign a contract with them and not Cape Breton University. Want to go to the next slide? And scholarships and grants. Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of this. CBU does have scholarships, bursaries, grants. The automatic scholarships are for students coming directly from high school. A scholarship will be offered on their acceptance letter. For those students coming for the post-baccalaureate programs, they're going to have to do, I think, at least 1 semester, get good grades, and then they can apply for a bursary or a grant, usually between 2,000 and 5,000 Canadian dollars. Next slide. Oh, yes, and that's it. The next intake that is available is January 2025. The application process can all be done through AECC. Send them a copy of your transcripts, and they can assess your eligibility. The deadline to make an application for Cape Breton University is August 15th. And students, if you do decide you want to confirm your seat, you must make a $5,000 confirmation deposit no later than September 15th. What's great about applying to Cape Breton University is that maybe you don't get your visa in time, or you decide not to come for January, you're automatically also accepted for May 2025. So you do have some flexibility. For those of you that do apply for a program that requires a PAL, or a provincial attestation letter, we're issuing these within 24 hours of receiving the request. That's something AECC can apply for you. But generally, the application process takes about 2 weeks once we received all your documents. And once we received your confirmation deposit, we will give you your provincial attestation letter to apply for the study permit. I think that's it for me, Donnie. Are there any questions you and your team have, or is there anything students would like clarity on that I can help them with?
Yeah, we do have some questions for you.
Wonderful.
So the first one is from Justin. So basically, Justin just finished his last year in Manitoba last year, and then looking to return to Canada to pursue his career in his background, or related to his background. So he was wondering, like, what are thriving sectors in Nova Scotia? Because she should consider Nova Scotia as his destination to pursue his career. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to need some clarity. Are they applying, did they just graduate high school, or did Justin graduate university?
University, yeah. Bachelor
Okay,
degree last year.
Bachelor's degree, fantastic. And what was his bachelor's degree in?
Mention, maybe I just
The reason I ask is because depending on what the bachelor's degree in, usually is going to determine what kind of post-bac program they're interested in.
Hello.
Hi, Justin.
Yeah, hi, Justin. Hello.
Hey, thank you for answering my question. So I graduated from Bachelor of Environmental Studies in 2023, and specialize in water resource management. So
Oh, brilliant.
I work in ecological consulting firm in Manitoba for 1 year before COVID hit, and I got laid off, and I decided to return to Indonesia. So I'm just wondering if this sector is something that is viable or in Nova Scotia, because Nova Scotia is more about fisheries. As far as I know, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if I should choose if I should consider Nova Scotia as my destination. Thank you. And my
Sure.
post is still active until 2025. So thank you.
Okay, wonderful. No, so an environmental background, there is a lot of opportunity, I think, in Nova Scotia and Atlantic Canada. You're absolutely correct. The fisheries is a large industry here. The Department for Fisheries and Oceans has a huge operation in Nova Scotia, but Cape Breton University has a huge research center called the Verschuren Center for Environmental and Sustainability. I would strongly recommend you checking out the Environmental Institute that we have on our campus, because it's actually focused mainly on hydrology and environmental studies. There's actually 32 private environmental consultancies working out of Cape Breton University and the Verschuren Center. And given your background, I'm surprised Manitoba, because they're landlocked. They're out in Western Canada. They're not really near much water. We have quite a few options for you. The first one I would recommend, depending on what you're looking to do, we have the advanced standing in the engineering technology department. For those students who have done a bachelor's degree already, we have a great environmental studies program. It would be a 2-year program in environmental technology, but that's depending if you're looking to go into an environmental tech program. The other option that we have, I think could be great, is we have a post-baccalaureate program in occupational health and safety. Again, this has a lot of work in the laboratory. This has a lot of options, I think, in health and safety, which is a huge industry in Nova Scotia. I guess the question I would ask you, Justin, and this is going to kind of help me give you a bit more advice. In a perfect world, what would you like to be doing 5 years after you graduate in Canada? Like, what sector or what industry would you like to be working in or doing as a career?
I have two options. If I go private, that means working for a consulting firm. But if I go government, that means working for the province or the Fed. Thank you.
Okay, so I know certainly within Canada, consulting, it's a very wide open term. I know a lot of our students that do the Bachelor of Engineering Technology and Environmental. They've gone into doing environmental impact assessments, but consulting typically in the oil and gas sector. So Canada has a huge oil and gas sector, actually out west in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. And the students that study environmental studies in the Bachelor of Engineering Tech, they work in the petroleum sector, because whenever there's an oil and gas project, there has to be an environmental consultation or an environmental consult. There's a lot of laws in Canada, a lot of regulations in Canada in the oil and gas sector. So there's actually a lot of people, ironically, that studied environmental studies that work in the oil and gas industry. I think a lot of people, when they think of oil and gas, they don't think of environmental regulations. But certainly within Canada, there's a lot of environmental regulations. If you've studied, environmental sciences, environmental studies, and you want to get into consulting, I would recommend the Bachelor of Engineering Technology and Environmental Studies. It's a great program. There's a start date in January. Always happy to connect you with some of the faculty in the engineering technology department. They all come from private industry and work in consulting. They can certainly answer very specific questions if you want more detail on the job sector in Canada on that, though. I hope that helps. If you have any questions.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Okay. If you do want to connect with faculty, or if you have more questions, just let Donnie know. We'd be happy to help you.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. So, Justin, our services from the AECC are totally free of charge. So, do connect with your counselors. After this, your counselor's name, Lia Nitya, will contact you from WhatsApp.
Also, Justin, I just
Thanks.
typed into the group chat there. It's called the Verschuren Center at Cape Breton University. If you just want to do a quick Google search on that, you'll learn, you'll bring up a lot of detail on the environmental center at CBU and what we're doing in hydrology and certainly within the consulting industry.
Will do. Thank you.
Were there any other questions, Donnie, or is there anything else I can help with there?
Yeah, there's the next question is from Denny. So basically, Denny his wife want to study, but both of them graduated with a bachelor's degree a long time ago, and currently he was 50, and then his wife is 41 years old. So given these circumstances, can they enroll in a vocational program, or should they pursue the master degree, or any advice?
Yeah, so if you're looking for a vocational qualification, this is typically something that's done at the colleges. Universities don't usually offer vocational options. For Cape Breton University, we don't look at anyone's age, religion, gender, background. If you meet the minimum academic qualifications, you can apply to Cape Breton University. One thing I will tell you though, and I'm sure AECC will give you the same guidance. Typically, the older you are, it's going to be more difficult to get the study permit. It's not just one thing getting accepted to a university or college in Canada. That's only 50%. The other 50% is applying for the study permit at the embassy. And generally, people with a huge gap in their education, it does get much harder to get that study permit. It's not impossible, but I would recommend you speak with AECC to look at kind of your financial background and the profile. You can certainly apply to us based on your age if you meet the academic requirements. But I think it's important to note that, having that gap is going to be a little bit more difficult to get the study permit. If you want to add anything to that, Donnie, about that process, please feel free. You guys are the experts on the study permit.
Yeah, so basically, if you are older than 35 years old, it's better to take the master degree. So our oldest students is 46 that taking MBA degree last year. So the more study level, the more old you are, the higher study level is will be like better for you to get the study visa.
That's fair.
Yeah, we'll drive all the personal statement, help you on the visa process as well. So feel free to connect with your counselors, Mas Pak Denny. Okay, so the next one from Muhammad Kuncahyo. So he was 28 years old and just finished high school. And then is it possible for him to try to study at bachelor degree, or do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, so I mean, certainly we're always very keen to increase the number of students coming from high school directly. He graduated at the age of 28 from high school.
I think back then.
Okay, so again, most students graduate high school at 18 rather than 28. Again, if you meet the academic requirements for us, you could certainly apply. But again, it is going to make getting the study permit more difficult. The embassy is going to ask why you have a 10-year gap. Depending on what your grades were in high school, would depend on kind of your eligibility, but also what subjects you took. So for example, if you wanted to apply for an engineering program, we would look at your English, your maths, and your two sciences, chemistry, physics, biology, any two of those. So that's how we would evaluate that. But again, I would really stress that gap of 10 years is going to make the study permit a bit more detailed because you'll have to provide more information of why that gap is there.
Yeah. Thanks, Brett. So the next one, what is the best way to get work in Canada from out of Canada?
So I'm not really able to talk about work permits. I can only really talk about studying in Canada. Certainly when you do graduate, we are a government university. So as long as you've studied for at least 2 years, you can apply for a 3-year postgraduate work permit. But I think it's important, Donnie, for students to know that it's really about making connections with the community. It's about doing co-ops while you study, doing those work terms. It's about developing your network, connecting with our employment services, going to our job fairs. The student that does that has a much better opportunity for finding a job after they graduate than the student that doesn't. I also think aligning your studies with what the labor market in Canada wants is going to help you find a job easier. So, for example, if you're someone that studies, Irish poetry or English poetry, it's going to be probably more difficult to find a job than if you were somebody that studied maybe environmental consulting or environmental studies, someone that studied maybe, business analytics. The Canadian job market has very specific sectors that it's strong in. So I think making sure that you study a field that's aligned with that is going to help you find an employment afterward.
So there's a follow-up question from Johannes. So are there any programs to facilitate students to easily get a job
So yeah, because we are
after
a government
graduated from the
university.
Cape Breton then?
Yeah, so we are a government university, meaning that we have what's called the co-op option available. Co-op is a government-sponsored program that essentially it connects students with employers and work while they're studying. Students must do at least 3 co-op terms. And if employment is a top priority, make sure that you're going to a government university and make sure that we have an entire department on students' career services and student employment services. Schedule an appointment with them and make sure that you're doing a co-op while you study. Because one of the issues about when you graduate is that you need a job to get experience and you need an experience to get a job. The co-op program at our government option is really going to help you with that. And I strongly recommend that you sign up for the co-op option.
That makes sense. So the next one, from Olivia. So what should she prepare if she want to study at CBU, and are there any tips to get the scholarships, specifically the highest one?
So is this a student coming directly from high school?
Olivia, maybe you can answer. Let me check. Yeah, from SMK high school.
Yes. So the direct from high school scholarships are automatic. Our admissions department looks at your grades, and depending on what your overall average was, will depend on the automatic scholarship. So for example, if you have between a 75 and 80, it's an automatic $5,000 scholarship. If you have between 80 and 89, it's an automatic $7,000 scholarship. If you have above an 89%, it's an automatic $10,000 for year one. So it's always based on grades. The higher your grades, the better the scholarship. It's only for year one because it's always based on grades. But if you can keep your grades up in your first year, you can always apply for scholarship again for year 2. Keep your grades up in year 2, apply for scholarship in year 3, etc. Did Olivia say what her overall average was, Donnie, in high school, in her grade 12?
Yeah, come again?
Did she say what her overall average was academically?
No, but usually our minimum range for the full graduated from high school is 80. So should be okay with the scholarships.
Okay, just let me check one thing here. If it's 80, scholarship. I can send you our scholarship matrix. I just want to check one thing for students coming from Indonesia. Indonesia. Yeah, so if she has over an 80, she would automatically be qualified for at least a $7,000 scholarship. Any students with an 80 or above
Okay.
gets at least 7,000. If they have a 90 and above, it's going to be 10,000, which is great, I think.
Yeah. I think there is no more questions. Let me check. Jessie raise her hands up. Hi, Jessie. Any questions for Brad?
Yes. Hi, Brad. It's me again.
Hey, Jesse.
Okay. Sorry, I haven't had chance to look at the campus website. I think need time to read the contents of website. Yeah. My question is, from the PowerPoint, is there only a Master of Business Administration for the master level? And another question, is it possible to take a post-baccalaureate diploma and apply for a scholarship if you are over 35 years old? And are there still many opportunities to get a job in Canada if you are over 35 years old after graduating from Cape Breton? And this is last my question. Back to the topic of scholarship. For the student who get scholarships during the post-baccalaureate diploma, is there a service bond or must serve after graduating from Cape Breton? Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. So there's 4 questions in there. I'll start at the first one. So we actually have 3 master's programs, but only 1 master's is offered on campus. That's the Masters of Business Administration and Community Economic Development. So if students want to study on campus, we only have 1 master's. That's the MBA. We do have 2 online master's programs. One is in environmental sustainability, and the others is a Master's of Education, but students don't come to Canada for that. So really, there's only 1 master's on campus. Considering that, we are in the process of getting government approval for 3 new masters to start in 2026. It doesn't help us right now, but we do have a master's of AI coming down the pipeline. We have a master's of healthcare management coming down the pipeline, and we have a master's of digital marketing coming. But that's probably not for at least another year. So for now, the only master's on campus is the MBA. To your question about scholarship, unfortunately for the post-baccalaureate programs, students cannot apply for a scholarship before they arrive. The only funding options for the post-baccalaureate program is after they've arrived in Canada and completed 1 semester. The post-baccalaureate programs has money available, but it's always based on the grades after they've completed the first semester. So it's only high schools really that can apply for a scholarship before they graduate. Like for example, Olivia, who has a high school average of over an 80, we would give her automatically a $7,000 scholarship offer. So instead of Olivia paying, say, $22,500 for her degree in year 1, her first year tuition is going to only be about 15,000 Canadian dollars for year 1. It's an automatic $7,000 scholarship. Now, going to the question of age and getting a job. So in Canada, we don't really look at age when we accept our students. We have a lot of students in the post-baccalaureate programs that are between 25 and 35. The job market in Canada really depends on what you studied and how you've set yourself up. Like I was saying before, the student that's very quiet, that doesn't go out and network, doesn't do an internship, realistically, their options of finding a job are going to be harder than someone that did, the internship, that is outgoing. They're going to our networking events. They're going to our job fairs. There's lots of students that come to Canada at 35 and enter the job market. But I think students really need to understand that in Canada and the United States, it's what you put in. You need to be out there networking. You need to be making sure you're going to the Career Service Center, which we offer free of charge. We have a lot of advice and a lot of employers that we work with, but no one's going to just give you a job. So the advice we always tell students is talk to our career services center, network, make sure that you're developing those connections and that you're proactive on finding a job, not the day you graduate, but the day that you start your studies at Cape Breton University. That is the best advice I can give, because ultimately it's the employer that hires the student, and employers want to hire students that are putting in that effort in developing those connections. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So how many students are available for post-baccalaureate diploma after completing one semester? Is the standard for getting the scholarship based on the grades in the first semester?
Yeah, so there's no capacity, there's no limit on how many students are able to get it. The main thing is looking at the grades. Like if you're just passing, let's say the supply chain management program, if you're just getting all C's, you're getting just, an average grade. I mean, realistically, that's not someone we want to give a bursary to. But certainly if you're someone that's coming in with good grades, you're eligible to qualify for the internship or the work term in year 2. Yeah, we have money available for you. We want to give students bursaries. It's not like we make it, you have to be in the top 1% of grades. For sure, there's students that are getting, a B average that are getting these bursaries. We just want to see that, the student is academically competent in at least their first semester, and then they can apply for those bursaries.
Okay, I see. I understand. Thank you, Brett.
Pleasure.
Okay, so I think Faiz asking the same question. So how is the fresh score derived for the scholarships? I think that answers his questions as well.
I would say this, Donnie.
Yeah, everyone. Any
When
questions?
students,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
No, continue.
There's really 3 things that attract students to Cape Breton University or to Nova Scotia. You can't have everything. You can't live in downtown Toronto at a public university with a low cost of living, low tuition, and great permanent residence options. You kind of got to choose 2. And if tuition or cost of living, if expenses is something that's very important to students, maybe they have a budget, realistically, you can't live in Toronto. Realistically, you can't live in Calgary or in Vancouver. The cost of living in these cities is some of the highest in the world. The tuition at universities in these cities is much higher than in Nova Scotia. So if students are looking to come on a budget with a lower tuition without sacrificing quality or accreditation, that's what we offer. If students are looking to, rent an apartment, not for $3,000 a month, but for a much lower price, this is what we offer in Nova Scotia. I think the second thing too, is that if students are looking for permanent residence after they graduate, I strongly recommend them to check out the Atlantic Immigration Program. One of the downfalls of going to Ontario, Alberta, or British Columbia is that after you graduate, your permanent residence can take 3 or 4 years to get. In Nova Scotia, if they decide to stay in Nova Scotia after they graduate, they're eligible to apply for permanent residence within 6 months through the Atlantic Immigration Program. So again, if finances and post-grad options is of the top importance, honestly, they really need to be looking at Atlantic Canada. I'm not even just saying Cape Breton University, but Nova Scotia should be at the top of their list.
Okay, so I'll just copy the link of Atlantic Immigration Program in the chat box.
Cool.
So we do have one question again from Desi Natalia. So she would like ask about the tax in Canada government. Yeah, how much the Canada government getting tax from the employee per year, and is it the same for its employers or different, like for laborers, company employers, or government employers?
So taxes, I mean, Canada, we pay a lot of taxes in Canada because we have free healthcare, we have free education, we have free pharmacare. So, I mean, certainly compared to the United States, we do pay more taxes, but you get a lot for your taxes in Canada. In Canada, it's a progressive tax, so it's based on your income. So if you're earning less money, you're paying less taxes. If you're earning, someone that earns, $150,000 a year pays more tax than someone that earns, say $40,000 a year. So that's the federal tax. And then by the provinces, there's also a provincial tax, which is different by province. So it depends on what province you live in, but it's never based on the private sector versus the government sector. It all depends on what your salary is. What I'd recommend, if you're interested to know more about taxes, you can do a Google search for each province, and they'll usually give you a tax calculator about how much taxes you are taxed on, depending on your salary.
Okay, so can you like give us like any insight compared to other state tax other than Nova Scotia, like compared
No,
to maybe
unfortunately,
Ontario
you'd have
or
to look
BC?
that up.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I can only give guidance on
okay.
university, not on taxes or PR or anything like
Ah,
that.
okay, sure. So I think there's no more questions from Desi. Yeah, she said all good, thanks. Yeah, any other questions for Brad? Oh, Olivia pressing her hands. Yeah, Olivia, feel free to talk.
So I have a question. What major do you recommended me if I'm not really good at math, but I'm interested in computer science and engineering, especially in computer network and cybersecurity? That's it. Thank you.
So, Olivia, if you're not too keen on maths, unfortunately, computer science, cybersecurity, there is a decent level of maths needed for that. For us, I mean, we do have a strong engineering program. There's more physics in the engineering program rather than maths, but there are definitely, we would definitely look at your maths requirement for sure. What was your maths grade in grade 12?
My grade is 17.5.
75?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I mean that's not a bad mark. I mean certainly that meets the minimum requirements, a 75. You just don't like maths, I guess is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not really good at math, but I'm like English and history, like geography, more
Okay,
like that.
tell me this, and I love asking students this question. In a perfect world, what would you like to be doing 10 years from now, career-wise?
If in 10 years I'm looking, I want to be a computing, and also I'm interested in network. So maybe I can be a network engineer consultant or technology business consultant.
Okay, so if you're interested in technology, what I'd recommend, we do have a Bachelor of Engineering Technology that could be interesting. But because you also mentioned you like the arts and social sciences, you mentioned geography or history, we do have a unique program. It's called the Bachelor of Arts and Science in the Environment. And this combines both the hard sciences, like, your Bachelor of Science, but it also combines the social sciences. So you do get some work in a laboratory. You do get some work in, the social sciences like geography, political science, things like that. One of the good things about Canada is that in year one, you never have to declare your major. You never have to say, I'm only going to do this. And it's very similar in the UK that once you decide, there's no flexibility. If you know that you like both the arts and social sciences, but also maybe technology, the Bachelor of Arts and Social Sciences could be a good start in year one. It gives you the chance to take a wide variety of subjects. You can talk with your professors. You can talk with other students. You have an entire year to take some of those subjects in both the sciences and the arts and social sciences, and then decide what you want to do. If you decide that after year one, you want to transfer to maybe an arts and social science program, you can. If you decide you want to transfer to an engineering technology program, you can. So, if you are interested in those things, you might want to consider applying for a Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences in the environment. We would look at your maths grade, but we're going to probably also be able to give you a scholarship in year 1, too. Because you have overall, your average is what? Over an 80%, correct?
My average is 18 2. Between 18.2 and 18.8.
82.
Perfect. So if you have between an 80 and an 82 average, you would have an automatic scholarship of $7,000 on your offer letter. And again, the Bachelor of Arts in Social Science in the environment, Bachelor of Arts in Science in the environment, I think could be a great fit for year 1, certainly for yourself.
Thanks, sir, for the recommendation. Maybe I will see it in Google again.
Sure. I mean, I would strongly recommend, Olivia, and this is for all students, Donnie. We have a lot of information on our website. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. We have a lot of societies. If you ever want to talk to some of the professors at the university in those programs, let me know. I'm always happy to schedule a call with you if you want to talk to some faculty members about career options after you graduate too.
Yes, sir. I have one question again. What the difference between go into the university in the United States and in the Canada? And if we go to Canada, and what the benefit will we get as a student in there, sir?
So I mean, there's a lot of universities in the US and Canada, so it's more dependent, I think, on what university. But between the two countries, as a policy, one of the reasons why a lot of students choose Canada instead of the United States is 3 reasons. Number 1, the cost. The US is extremely expensive at the university level, certainly compared to Canada, not just because of the strength of the US dollar, but just the overall tuition cost. Even domestic students from the United States come to Canada because the cost of tuition is much less. The second reason is, I think when you study in Canada, the postgraduate work options are much better. As long as you study at least a 2-year qualification at a public university in Canada, you're going to be eligible to apply for a 3-year postgraduate work permit. So if you're looking to stay in the country after you graduate, I think Canada has much better options. And more importantly, if you're also looking at permanent immigration, Canada has some really good options for international students that the United States does not have to get your permanent residence and I think eventually citizenship. So those are usually the main reasons.
Thanks a lot for the information, sir.
Pleasure. Where are you based at, Olivia? Are you in Jakarta or are you in another part of Indonesia?
I'm in part of Indonesia in West Java, Depok.
West Java. Okay. The reason I ask is I'm going to be in Indonesia in Surabaya in November. So if you did have questions, we could always talk more in person.
Yes, sir. So I'm not a high school student, but I am a vocational student in software engineer. But sometimes I have a difficult time with programming language. For the example, like PHP, Python, and Java sometimes, but I'm interested in network and computing. I can do like Cisco Packet Track and lots. So I asked you, what should I major like that?
Did you graduate from university already?
Not. Next year I will be graduating from vocation school. It's like high school, but they have a major to like university.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's a vocational high school, so it's SMK. It's kind of the same qualification with SM.
Got you. Okay.
Okay, all good. I think Olivia, do you have any more questions for Brad?
No, sir. Enough. Thank you.
Thanks, Olivia. Okay, I think there is no more questions, Brad. Do you have any like last tips before we end the sessions?
No, I mean, I would just say that The next intake available is January, as well as May 2025 will be opening up shortly. Like I said, we're a publicly funded government university. The quality of education is always going to be very high. And please get in contact with the AECC if you're interested to apply. They're a global partner of ours. They can help you from end to end with the application process, as well as the study permit with the embassy.
Thanks, Brett. So everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to contact your counselors. We have all the questions and we will help you from A to Z. So like Brett said, from the consultations, admissions, visa, including to help you to finding the accommodations, feel free to ask your counselors. We will more than happy to help you. Okay. Thanks, Brett.
Pleasure.
Thanks, everyone.
Would you be able to stay on the call just for a minute, Donnie? Just want to have a quick question about November for you. That's all.
Oh, I'll send you another.
Okay. Or sure. Yeah.
Meeting,
Yeah.
right?
Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah.
Imagine studying in a place where opportunities meet diversity. Say hello to Canada, home to some of the world's top universities. Canada ranks among the best in education. In fact, according to QS World University Rankings, 26 Canadian universities are listed among the best in the world. With a multicultural society that welcomes students from all corners of the globe, you'll find a second home here. And it's not just about the studies. With a robust job market, Canada offers numerous work opportunities while you study and post-graduation. We understand that studying abroad is a big decision, filled with excitement, curiosity, and a bit of nervousness. That's why AECC is here to guide you through every step of your journey. From choosing the right program and university, to visa processing and pre-departure guidance, we're here to help for free. So, are you ready to embark on your Canadian educational journey? Get in touch with AECC today by filling out the contact form on our website. Imagine